Okay, we've got a pile of printed old master drawings here, and somebody might be outraged at that and wonder why I've printed these drawings, how wasteful that might be, the emissions, the destruction to the world. And to that I would answer firstly that unlike 99% of those people, I didn't spend my entire adult youth travelling around the world to pretend I was impressive and producing incredible emissions via the jet engines that actually propel those aircraft on all these adventures, so that I could have a passport with all these stamps and pretend I've learned something from going to more or less identical cities everywhere. In other words, I have so much carbon credit in my life, also my very minimal driving, that I could burn bonfires in my yard for the rest of my life and still be greener. So that's the first thing. I am pretty much greener than those little self-righteous goblins in Fern Gully. So, you know, my green heart is pure. But also because it's a necessity for me to print them out. And that's what we're going to deal with today. You see, I've made complaints about the fact that art directors and publishers do not produce important artworks in their original size, even when they can, and it makes it very difficult for anybody who wants to work out what the original size is, unless you go to the museums, and then I'd have to, destroy the environment with all my emissions to make it to Italy and Germany and so on. In order to understand how large these drawings are, and therefore understand how they were created to the fullest extent, you have to know the dimensions, and you have to see the size they were working at. And therefore I did the hard yards. I put my money where my mouth was, and I got into Photoshop with these images and resized them to the dimensions I was given. And it was painstaking, and it was just long and tedious, and there were times I thought, why am I doing this? Is it worth it? Will I achieve anything? And fortunately I kept going, and now I've got a pile of badly printed drawings. By the way, you will notice that the drawings after being printed are not necessarily great quality in terms of their resolution. That's partly because some of these drawings are gathered from museums that didn't give me high-res images, and also because of the quality of this camera and because of the quality of my printer. In the spirit of the modern world, if you'd love to help this channel and help videos such as these be sharper when dealing with printed material, you can always go to my Amazon wish list and buy the channel a better laser printer. You know, it won't go to me. I won't use it for anything else except printing things to make these amazing videos with. And I'll be so grateful. I'll give a shout out to anybody who buys me the printer. The channel, buys the channel, the printer, so that these videos can be made and the world can be enriched by them. And as for the environmental issue, I know printers are plastic and so on, and there could be a concern there for somebody who's very caring about fashionable things. Just know that I have not bought a toner cartridge replacement. I buy the toner and I refill it by hand to save the environment. Of course, it saves me hundreds of dollars, but I also save the environment. And that's why, in terms of these images, some of them will probably have streaks and blotches, well, potentially of toner blotches, because that system doesn't work perfectly, which is why to have a high quality production, I will need somebody to go to my Amazon wish list and buy me a new laser printer. Okay, buy my channel. I keep saying that. I mean my channel. I will only use it for videos. My channel. It's my channel. I've got to get that in my head. I've put a pencil there for reference, a size reference. It's got my name on it so nobody steals it, and also because that actually, I guess, goes back to my school days. But these are A4 sheets, so I don't really need a size reference. And now I'll get started. It's 7 minutes in, and I'm sure that would frustrate anyone that thought this was going to be useful, but my channel is not about being useful, really. It's about just making videos where I talk a lot. So here we have Combustible, I believe. I'll try and get the artist right here off the top of my head, but one of my favorite artists from Renaissance period. And here he has his geometricized figures, some kind of study for a large piece. I'm not sure if I have the actual finished painting, but as you can see, a lot of these, there's my hand. A lot of these are smaller than what people might imagine, and that's why I like to see them in as close as possible to their original size, because it makes a difference. So most of these are going to be pen and ink. Okay, I bet you never thought that first picture was going to leave the file. Alright, this is Gandolfi, I believe. Another one of my favorites, Gandolfi. If it is Gandolfi, I'd be a bit silly if it wasn't. And people might assume this was over A4 size, or a lot of these pen and ink drawings are, as I said, quite small, and there are reasons for that, to do with not only the paper supply and cost of paper, but the line weight. Pen starts to become difficult to create strong drawings with when you get too large, and it's actually easy to draw. There's a certain sweet spot where you can get a good perspective on your drawings, and after that it can become difficult to judge your proportions. This would be Diziani, I believe. More studies. this would be, I think this could be Gandolf. There's a number of Gandolfis, like family members. I think this could be another Gandolfi. This is Cambiaso. And that's very small. That one's a very small one. For him, he has some of the larger drones. I think this is a Gandolfi again. Another Gandolfi though. You know, the funny thing is, these look better on camera because the camera might actually be softening some of the jaggies, some of the pixels. So the dual poor quality, I think, is neutralizing. Here's Luca again, Luca Cambiaso, and it's Cambiaso, isn't it? I don't want to go through my whole video saying the wrong name. I've got like hundreds of images now, can't. This is like the Aragon thing again. So this one's, we're getting into larger size now. But still the figures are around palm size. So, you know, when you're talking about these heads, I mean, they're thumbnails. These heads. And these ones are even smaller. This one, I want to say Diziano. So the reason I like a lot of these drawings too is that when you have to draw smaller and you have to simplify and heavily stylize a lot of these forms, which gives you interesting look. So they're very efficient with the way they do the features, and you can get some nice stylization. So here's there's his name, Diziani. Oh no, saying the wrong thing. I was saying Diziani, wasn't I? And I don't even know my vowels. What? Okay. So this one, these figures are small. I mean, these are small figures. So this is the thing. If that's on screen, you have no. I'm not going to say you have no reference, no idea at all how big they would be, but you really, you know, the picture, you start zooming in and on screen you think, oh, their head must be the size of a thumbnail or something, but it's not. It's, you know, it's tiny. It's like a baby thumbnail, pinky nail. Cambiaso. Just gonna have to do something here for a second, just make sure I'm not. How embarrassing. Just gonna make sure I'm getting these names right. Come on, find your way through your computer here. Okay, come on. Cambiaso. Yeah. Nothing to worry about. Cambiaso. Quite a large one, that one, for a drawing. So he's cutting his nib. He's cutting his quill relatively thick. There's another Cambiaso. Thinner, but you can see it's maybe getting blunter there, or just releasing more ink. Cambiaso again. As you can see, I do like from Combustible. But I do really prefer his drawings to the paintings. I'm not a huge fan of the paintings. Let me have a repeat. Did I miss that one? Combustible. Is that helping? I don't know. Does anyone care? Just to go back to my environmental policies. Not environmental policies, I mean, I'm just not a hypocrite, that's the point. Combustible. I don't like destroying Fern Gully, but if I'm not going to destroy Fern Gully, then I mean it, you know? You don't go around saying you love Fern Gully and then you just pour jet fuel all over it. Combustible. This is actually a really nice one, but very low res. They gave me a small image. I had to enlarge that to A4, and we suffered for that. So now we have these Tiepolo etchings that I don't really like, but I wanted to see the size of the etchings for the purposes of working out what size plates he was using in case I wanted to etch, and what size figures. I mean, these are small as well. Small heads. So compare that. These are Tiepolo's inks. I like Tiepolo's ink drawings, as I've said before. Not so much. Or actually, I just don't like the etchings at all. And the paintings, yeah, whole sketches and some of the frescoes. But I think Tiepolo, sometimes if he was going to get that naturalistic, he should have used a little more reference. I think sometimes he winged it a bit too much, because he had a very, he approached naturalism very closely, so then you pretty much have to start using reference for everything. Some of his figures start to get a bit weird. So that's a Tiepolo etching. That's a small plate, that is. Let's get out my trusty pencil. By the way, these pencils also ruin the every pencil that you use, an endangered Brazilian mud frog will perish as a canopy is removed, and it will actually out of the shade it will burn alive. It will actually set on fire because of the oil in its skin. So that's why this is the last pencil I will be using, and I only use styluses for some kind of digital device now. It's made out of plastic, but I don't want to talk about it. Okay, so this would be, who can guess who that is? That is, I believe, Bartholomew Spranger. I think it is, because he does very sort of, he's got a heavy eye socket stylization, simplification, abstraction, whatever you want to call it. What if I'm wrong? Then my theory's incorrect, but now that's sprung, I'm sure of it. This is Cambiaso again. And there's his signature in case you think that I was lying. There it is. Cambiaso. Even though it says that's weird. That says, does that say Luca? That looks like a G, but Cambiaso. That's weird. He had different kinds of names, I believe. So maybe that's one of his. Well, that's a very strange way of doing a B. That can't be a B. So I got a scratch. Got an itch there to scratch. Okay, so we have Last Supper in geometricized form there, planned for some work, but I'm sure I'm going to like the drawing more. And here we are again, Cambiaso. Some more. See, the geometricized style is interesting at this period as well, because I think this is a useful style if you're creating things without reference, and he's still using a lot of learned anatomy and naturalistic poses as well. It's sort of a halfway house, but that geometric style is, it does help when creating without direct reference, if you can nail it. So, but he's obviously just doing it to plan his compositions. And Cambiaso again. So these figures, yeah, I mean, you're talking about palm-sized figures there. It's a different way of drawing. Drawing at that size is different to getting out a big pad with charcoal or something. It's different, different muscle memory, same concepts, but it is different. So that's why you want to learn what size they're drawing at, because you don't want to try and mimic something or learn from something and then do it in different dimensions and you wonder why it doesn't work. Well, you care so much about that stupid frog, but you don't want to print things out. You'll never know. Forever you will be in the dark about unless you travel on the jet to these Italian museums again, then you're destroying the environment. So you see, there's a method to what I'm doing that's both informative and green, and would make all those little sanctimonious trolls in Fern Gully very happy. This would be, who's this? I think Tiziani. This is Tiziani. This is some great great gestures here, great movements here of the putty. Who's this? I don't know, because I think it was given to various people. It could be Ricky. It could be Ricky or Richie or something. Maybe. I've already done that. I should be careful. I've demonstrated I've done multiple prints. That's bad. Multiple prints. Cambiaso again. And this will be Samson, I think. What a weird video this is. Very strange. It's okay. I'm not one to shy away from strange videos. this will be Gandolfi, some Gandolfi. Again, you know, I could show you that on a website or something, or close up. You think, oh yeah, because the line is quite fine here, so you'd think it could be quite a bit larger, but hey, that's half of, you know, that's small. So I mean, the line width can really trick you. He's cut a very fine point. This is, I think this is I'll just call him Sebastian Ricky. I think this is Sebastian Ricky. I think it is. But what if I'm wrong? No one's gonna care. They care more about my unfashionable views. Cambiaso. So you can see he's got a thick line here for a pen. I've actually cut quills. I mean, I've got quills, and you know, working with a fine point, I'll go into that another time. It's actually not difficult. I mean, it's not in a way they're preferable to steel nibs, but when I try to cut a thicker one, it can be dangerous. So Cambiaso again. Oh, don't look at that. There's another Brazilian frog that's dead. And there's oh, that was convenient. That's the other part of the Ricky. See, there's my bad printing. When you refill the toner instead of playing their game and buying a new toner cartridge every time. Oh no, that goes with that one. What am I thinking of? Look at that. So that was see how convenient it is when you print it out. You can say, hey, that was basically an A3 size image. Now I know exactly. I know it just all fits together in your mind. I know exactly the size he was working. What you find when you do what I've done here is that they're working in similar sizes in many cases to standard paper sizes, say A4 and A3 in many of those drawings. Now here are engravings. So who's this by? The drawing will be by Carloni, and then it's some guy called Hertz has engraved it. So you get a lot of these situations. I just wanted to see how big the engraving was. Again, you know, small. These engravings are really quite small, as you would, I guess, imagine if you understand what they're doing. But people don't see this stuff much anymore, so it can be a little surprising how small they are. But yeah, this is a method where you get sort of engraving. I guess they'd probably call them reproductions back then, but they changed the things quite significantly from the original. So I almost never like the engravings unless the original artist has done it. Now this is somebody that, see, look how small that head is. That's quite that head's quite I'm not going to say rendered, but I mean, for that size, you can see Cambiaso didn't bother with any detail of that size, but he's detailed the head, and this is a little tiny head. Can't remember who that is. I almost had it. No, it's gone. I should just make up an Italian name. That was Bologna. That was Luigi Bologna. Cambiaso, and that's Mercury. Mercury with his top hat. Bowler hat, I mean. Get it right. You're going to be sarcastic. Here's, oh dear, we've got some toner problems there. This will be Gandolfi again. Fountain design, most likely. I don't think it's just a picture for the sake of it. Could have been, but probably. Fountain Cambiaso. So Cambiaso is interesting because he draws bigger than the others in many cases, so I wanted to compare what he was doing. And that's more from that panel. Okay, that shouldn't be there, but that's the 1930s, is it? American comic. I want to see the size of that. Now what's the name of that character? That guy's got, he's one of the few comic artists that I like the strip comics, his style. And I can't remember the name now, so that was useful. I'm sure you know who that is now. Yes, Tiziani. Very detached, segmented lines. Tiziani likes. Cambiaso again. Cambiaso does great boots. I don't think I've really showcased his boots, but he does the best boots of anybody, I think. I don't think I've really. I did have some good boots before, but some of them I haven't printed probably. This is okay. I almost had it. This is Traverse. So he's a bit later. Now we're into the Baroque, but he did a whole set in a style which I might just go through on file, like 100 of them. Yeah, we know that one. We know that one. Now we have Bath, Spranger again. And this is, again, that's a little smaller than I thought it was. A little smaller than I thought it was, actually. Okay, that's Cambiaso, obviously. But that's a Brazilian, interesting, that's a Brazilian cartoonist. Is it Juan Carlos from the 30s? And I wanted to see how big that was. What have we got here? Oh, we're finishing on some of these. That's not good. It doesn't tie in correctly to what I'm doing, but anyway, it's the same concept. There's that little guy again. I wish I knew the name of that comic. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Can I get it there? No. But I don't want to finish on that. Let's finish on so I hope that was less useless than it seemed. But let's be honest. I'm not too worried about whether things are useful or useless. I mean, I spent 7 minutes just talking about nonsense. So, you know, I've got a few tweets there, but we'll just finish on Combustible, and that's another video.